So, for those of you who are new to this class, my name is Julian Israel. I'm from London. I'm half Japanese. I speak both English and Japanese. And I started this meetup group almost 4 years ago now. And in this meetup, of course we study English, but the focus is not so much on the language, it is more on the Western culture side of things. So I thought, wow, why don't I do a lesson on this, because these companies are very important to our lives. We use their services, their products, and ultimately I want to have a discussion today about which company is the most kind of valuable going into the future, right? So hopefully you will learn some new things about these companies today, some new ideas about market dynamics, right? So we'll be talking about monopolies, monopsonies. Do you know these terms? So and also about aggregation. So there'll be a lot of business things to learn, but also I hope that you'll be able to meet some new people while you discuss things, because I will split you up into teams later on. Okay? So let's discuss which is the most attractive investment. Okay, so 4 companies, some areas they are competing, some areas they're not competing, but these 4 companies have achieved tremendous growth in the stock market, right? And I'll be talking about why that might be. But it is important to think, right? Of course, if you use Google, you can ask any question. You can ask the Google Maps how to get from point A to B. My worry is that maybe people don't have to think enough these days. So I think this is a good opportunity for you to think about issues in this session. And I want you to imagine the future. What's the future going to look like? Because the stock market is about expectations for the future, right? So try to imagine what the future will look like. Also, try to be objective. 主観じゃないや、客観的, right? Be rational, of course, 論理的, and be realistic, 現実的, right? And at the end, we'll do teamwork discussion, and I've given you the analysis tools, the BCG matrix and SWOT, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, threats. We'll be going through that later, okay?
Technology giant Amazon. Tens of billions of dollars were wiped from Facebook's value in just a few days.
Reading, and their power is all in order that now rivals.
Thank you very much for that. Did you all understand everything in the material? Not really? Okay, so I'll go through it myself. I'll ask questions and we can have a discussion. I'll try to explain as much as I can. Alright, line 3. One beneficiary of the scandal surrounding a massive data leak from Facebook has been its fellow technology giant Amazon. Tens of billions of dollars were wiped from Facebook's value in just a few days. Other tech companies, including Google, also suffered. Okay, so this is talking about last year when, do you remember the news? Facebook, Cambridge Analytica, US elections. Yes? Right, so there was a company called Cambridge Analytica which helped Donald Trump get elected. They harvested information about users on Facebook and targeted them with political adverts, right? They said that the Russians were trying to interfere with the US election. So I think that's what the data leak is referring to. So tens of billions of dollars were wiped from Facebook's value in just a few days. And also Google suffered. Why do you think value was destroyed? Axel-san?
Sure. Because the trust was destroyed.
Trust. Okay. Could you provide a little bit more explanation?
Right.
Yeah.
So you said that in Facebook, consumers are the product. So So they put their information, their pictures, their data, and companies target them through these information. If there's a big data leak, that's Facebook's main business, which means the company loses trust. Maybe some people stop using Facebook.
Okay.
The future doesn't look so bright, so they start losing money in the stock.
Okay, so users leaving Facebook
Right.
is the main motive for investors selling Facebook stock, you think?
Could be. So they leave Facebook and then companies cannot target them, which means their marketing revenue will not be as good.
Right.
And they will leave as well, and so on and so on.
Okay, great. Any other reasons? Miho-san?
I think it's very similar to Excel.
Axel.
Sorry.
It's all good.
Everybody, because of the Facebook, we really put the real name, and the data is actually it's not the fake, it's the real. That's why it's very considered a serious issue for the data leak.
Okay, so users are very sensitive about
Yes.
privacy.
Privacy, yeah.
Okay, right, excellent. Any other reasons, potential reasons? Junko-san?
Well, it's similar, but I think, in fact, lots of people, deleted their account from the Facebook, I
Okay.
guess.
Yeah, in Europe there were a lot of people who left Facebook after this scandal.
Wow.
But can anyone think of any other reasons that might affect the stock price? Might push it down. Yuri-san?
Maybe there are some regulators like governments or authorities will limit the usage of Facebook. So
Right.
that means no more future
Mm.
for the commerce.
Right. I think this is a huge aspect of huge aspect of the stock price going down. If the political trend, if people start seeing Facebook as something that's dangerous for society, then regulators then have the support to go to regulate these companies. Let's talk more about regulation, right? Do you think regulation in Facebook's business model has been tight?
Not so much. Yeah, I think basically nothing except for China.
Right. That's a very interesting point. So let's compare Facebook to, for example, Japan tobacco, right? What are the differences in the regulations between Japan tobacco and Facebook? Saori-san.
ジャパンタバコ
JT にかかる規制と Facebook にかかる規制の違いとか、どっちが厳しいですか? Which one is tougher? Yeah, right, because people think that tobacco is bad for them, right? So they don't want JT to advertise to children, right? You can't advertise it in public spaces. So the regulations are very tight, right? Which means that the costs can go up. But for companies like Facebook, these new IT companies, Gafa, right? The regulations have been almost non-existent, right? So when the Facebook scandal came out and people started talking about regulating these companies, I think that represented a possibility of the costs going up in the future, the profitability being affected. So I think regulations is a very, very big part of the Facebook value being destroyed, as well as actual users saying, I don't want to use Facebook anymore. There's people like that, right? I love Facebook, but you know, that's just me, but other people don't like it so much. And the same thing, you know, I just made a comparison about with Facebook and JT, but for example, how about a pharmaceutical company? if you want to make a new medicine, how much does it cost? Yeah, a lot of money, billions, and it takes a lot of time, right? So the regulations are very tight. Same with energy, nuclear power plants, right? So when regulations are tight, it's hard to make new products, it's harder to do business. I think that's one of the big reasons why Facebook went down. Okay, let's move on. Who uses Amazon? Almost everyone, except Andrew. Why don't you use Amazon?
Because I don't like online shopping.
Fair enough. That's fine. So on Amazon, you have lots of products, and there are links to there's lots of product information. But are there any links that go outside of Amazon's platform?
Yes.
There isn't, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's an important part. If you, as a customer, you have a relationship only with Amazon. There's no third-party interaction. Of course, there's third parties selling on Amazon, right? But Amazon is in the middle. So Amazon effectively owns the customer relationship. Right, but if you use Facebook, there's lots of guide link, right? External links going to other pages. With Google, I mean, they don't really have much content, but it's all just third-party stuff. So that means there's a big difference between the business models and how they're regulated, I think. So I have a question here, and I want you to focus on lines 17 to 18. Consider how much information Amazon has about its users. The goods that you buy say a lot about who you are, right? So my question is all data equal? What kind of information is most valuable?
Users' demand, and users' hobby.
Okay. Let's talk about data now. So you say user demand?
Demand and hobby, some kind of, how can I say? 思考性, sorry, I don't
Preferences.
know. Preferences.
Yeah. Okay. That's one type of data, or one category of data. Anybody else?
Credit card.
Credit card data.
Information or address, phone number.
Okay. CC data, well, physical information, right? Anybody else? Hi, Kagan-san.
Purchasing ability.
How
can I say?
How much money you have?
Yeah.
Yeah, demographic.
Let's talk disposable income. 消費できるお金。And Axel-san, you said the demographic?
Demographics, yeah.
Okay. Demographics.
Yes.
日本語だとなんて言うんだろう。
人口属性。
属性? Right, so how old you are, what religion you are, that sort of information. Right. Anybody else?
I have a question.
Yes.
Why Amazon can know your disposable income?
I'm not saying that Amazon knows
Okay.
I'm talking about the different kinds of data there are. I'm trying to determine which data is the most valuable,
Okay.
right?
In general.
In general, yeah. いろんな情報があるけど、その中で順位をつけることをしています。Right. How about you, Kuma-san? パス。
ついていけない。
So I think that not all data is equal, right? Some companies, they'd be interested in your hobby and your preferences. For example, Facebook, they have this data, right? Facebook understand, what you like, which pages you visit, what links you click on, so that they can target you with adverts, right? But I think that some data is really, really valuable because a lot of it is secret, right? What is secret to you, Miho-san?
What my secret?
Mm.
Just pop up my mind is age.
Oh, that would be in the demographics.
Right.
Yeah.
Not just secret. I don't expose to my income and the credit card information.
Sure.
And also the combination of all these.
Right. But you just said an important thing. It just popped out your head.
Yeah.
The information that remains inside your head is secret, I think.
Yes,
right?
Yes, right.
Sure.
Oh, that is right.
Yeah. So I think that your innermost thoughts.
Yeah. Intimate desire of the person.
Your fears.
Right.
Right.
So if you're worried about ikumo, right? You're not going to go on.
Yeah, right.
You're not going to go on Facebook and say, oh, I'm worried about losing hair and balding or whatever. You're going to go on Google, right? You're going to probably look for how to stop balding or what kind of ointments they have. But that's secret. You're embarrassed about it. You don't want people to know. And that's incredibly valuable information, right? Because you're not willing to show it to anybody else. You go out there to look for the answer in the world. I think Google has this information, right? So how do they know this?
Search.
Yeah, your search history. 検索履歴。検索履歴見ればその人が一体どういうことを考えているかっていうのがわかる。Right. That data is not equal to your demographics, right? How else? They had the email, right? Email was a way of, well, they stopped it now, but they had a lot of data from the emails that you're sending in Gmail to target you with adverts about your inner thoughts, what you're talking about with people. So I think that's very valuable, and if you talk about your social network, that says a lot about who you are as well, right? So Facebook knows like who your friends are. If you're an important person, you have CEO friends or whatever, politicians, right? That is a different kind of data, right? And Amazon, they know your purchasing behavior. Purchasing, 購買履歴. Again, that shows a certain aspect of you, right? But that aspect is coming out into the real world. But I think the innermost thoughts, this is really, really valuable, in my opinion, right? Everybody understand? 大丈夫ですか? Kaori-san? Okay? カオリさんの Google 検索履歴見れば一体どういう人生を歩んでるかっていう今どういう感じで何を考えてるかっていうのが結構わかると思うから見てほしくないですよね Right? It's private, very private information. Okay, so I just wanted to just get that out there. Remember, not all data is equal, right? Okay, let's move on. Line 21. So I want to just introduce you to some terms: monopoly, oligopoly, and monopsony. What is a monopoly, Junko-san?
Only one company.
The monopoly controls supply. So monopoly controls supply. Do you have any examples of monopolies? 独占企業。これ独占企業。Excellent. Country level monopoly.
Right.
Right. It's actually very hard to find a pure monopoly, but some companies are said to be more monopolistic than others, of course. Can anyone think of, はい、川上さん。
東京電力。
東電。How are they a monopoly?
Almost monopoly company.
Right.
Not totally, but almost.
Yeah. Something's happened recently. Tokyo Gas is kind of competing very aggressively with Tokyo Denryoku, right? Something's happened there. Maybe some kind of deregulation, right? Let me introduce you to Luxottica. Has anyone ever bought a pair of sunglasses? It's a sunglass monopoly. Ray-Ban, all the others, Dior, and I don't know. Why are they so expensive? Right. Because they control the supply of sunglasses.
Right.
Okay. You okay, Saori-san? You understand? Okay. So let's talk about the nature of monopoly. I think what they do is they squeeze consumers. 独占禁止法とかっていうのが存在する理由なんですよ。Right? Antitrust, because they want to protect consumers. Antitrust is a consumer protection law. 消費者法。Okay, what about oligopoly? What is an oligopoly? Eri-san. 早すぎた。Okay. Yes. Oligopoly, 寡占企業。Okay. Anybody?
Like telecommunication or mobile.
Excellent, yeah. So there's few players, right? Only a few. So telecoms, NTT, SoftBank, KDDI. Rakuten is entering this market in Japan, but in most cases you would say that it's an oligopoly. They can work together to form cartels, right? Cartel card. So OPEC is like a oligopoly, right? 石油の団体, right? Saudi Arabia, some other oil producers. So again, here, they form cartels and they can squeeze consumers, right? 値上げを料金を維持することができる. Right? In Japan right now, you know that the government has said that Son-san, your prices for SoftBank is very, very high. We have to reduce discount prices for your mobile packages, right? Because that shows that it's an oligopoly. You understand? 大丈夫ですか? Yes? Now, monopsony, you probably never heard this term before. No?
No, never.
Junko-san, maybe you have. You come to a lot of my classes.
Well, I'm sorry. My memory is really bad.
Oh, yeah. It's okay.
As you know.
No problem. モノプソニーっていうのは独占使用者です。あんまり聞かないかもしれないけど。This is very interesting. So, this is like a monopoly upside down, right? Now, monopsony controls demand. 需要をコントロールする。Okay? And in this situation, in a monopsony, instead of squeezing the consumers, who do they squeeze, do you think?
It's company, industry,
Suppliers.
suppliers.
Yeah. So can you think of any monopsonies? But when I talk about monopsonies, I'm talking about something which is really like, they're very good at controlling suppliers, controlling demand. So I'll give you an example. I'm going to talk about the porno業界. So nowadays, people, they visit porn sites, but the porn sites, they don't sell anything, it's free. Tube site. Do you know this? Tube site. Pornhub, YouPorn. No? You know?
Of course.
Right. So this is like a, let me just explain how this works. So you have content producers, right? They make the AV. Before they used to sell it in the shops, right? Like Book Off or whatever, right? But now with the internet, people don't go to the shops anymore. They go to tube sites, YouPorn, Xvideos. I know this is a little bit adult, but this is an excellent lesson on how the business has changed. So the content is on the tube sites, and then the users are here, right? Now, if a user is going to look for free porn, they're going to go to a tube site, right? They don't need to go to any other shops. So tube sites are effectively controlling the demand here. They're like a monopoly. Instead of raising the prices for customers, it's free, right? So they're able to squeeze the content suppliers, right? So the contents, they come to the tube sites. There's actually a very big 독sen企業, 독sen使用者, it's called MindGeek. If you're interested, I recommend you look up this company. They handle more data than all the social media companies, right? So the difference is they squeeze suppliers. The products are usually free, right? So that's an example of a monopsony, 独占使用者. 逆転したような感じ. Right? Does that make sense? Anybody not understand? 手を挙げてもし分かんなかった。はい、純子さん。
Oh, sorry, I didn't really understand.
Okay. まあ、要はチューブサイトっていうのはエロビデオの集計サイトです。で、もしエロビデオを見たいユーザーがいるんだったらその集計サイトに行きます。無料です。Right? でも無料にしてあるから別に消費者には害はないんですけれども、これをすることによって多くのユーザー全部このチューブサイトに行きます。で、チューブサイトは広告で稼いでいます。実際に物は売っていません。Right? で、このコンテンツを提供している会社にとってはその商品っていうのは売ることができなくなっちゃってる。So all the users, they come to the platform. They don't need to pay anything. Right? That's a big difference between monopoly and a monopsony. Monopoly controls supply, monopsony controls demand. Right?
Oligopoly. Yeah, I changed mine.
You think so? See, I think that Facebook does not belong to any of these. Right? So if you talk about Facebook, on one side you have users, right? Or looking to connect with each other, and they use Facebook. And then on the other side, you have the advertisers. So in this situation, there is no need to have another competitor, right? So does anybody use any other social networks besides Facebook for their social needs? I know you use it for business.
Instagram.
Instagram? Who owns Instagram?
Facebook.
But the different targets.
Different target, right. Same company though. So that's an interesting, you raise an interesting point. Even though Facebook is a different platform from Instagram, Facebook owns both of them. Right? So it's almost like a monopoly. Right? I want to introduce you to this term, aggregator. 集計屋さん. They are able to attract users at scale, right? たくさんのユーザーをそのプラットフォームに呼ぶことができる. Right? 集計. So, does anybody know the term network effects?
Value also up. Network value is also up.
Exactly. Perfect answer. The more users that come to Facebook, the more valuable the platform is. Because the advertisers, they want to access the users. Does that make sense to everyone? Yes? So there's very powerful network effects for aggregators, right? The more users you have. For Google, is Google aggregator? Axel-san?
In a way, it is, because we have Google AdWords. People search for things and they, based on their searches, they get different results. Now these results might be paid or they might be there because of SEO.
Right.
So in a way it is.
What are the users trying to access?
It depends.
Right.
Right.
Some information.
Information, product, services.
So for Facebook, it's users, but for Google, I think it's web pages.
Sure.
Right. So the more web pages there are on website on the internet,
Right.
and Google has the technology to connect users with those web pages,
Right.
then the advertisers will gather naturally.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So the value of the platform is increased with the more web pages is more value.
Right, right.
Right. Does that make sense, everyone?
Mm-hmm.
So in this situation, aggregators, they can capture huge market share. Why do you think that is? Yasusa-san. なぜこのマーケットシェアをたくさんキャッチできるんですか?
How I feel.
Okay, that's okay. I like an honest answer, right? Depends on how you feel. That's fine. Who uses Google only to search for things? Right? Why?
Why?
I think it covers everything because they are, I like the crawling engine.
Yes.
And one more thing, there are, I think some people dislike it, but I like they are collecting something about me.
Oh, you
automatically.
Oh, okay. You like personalized
Yeah.
advertising.
Yeah. So, everybody has a function of Google now in your smartphone. And they show something about I like or I'm interested. So they analyze me.
Yeah.
They also interesting.
They understand you.
Yeah.
And map or news, Google News also.
Yeah.
Very easy to use and
Sure.
idea to.
And it's free, right?
Yes, free.
It's free. It works. It's free, and they understand you.
Yeah.
That's okay. So that means why would you use any other service?
Right.
Right? There is no need for competition, right? Already, the prices are free. You cannot go any lower. So that destroys competition. That means we can't really look at the aggregator in the same way. Okay, one more thing about aggregators, horizontal expansion, right? If you think about the world being flat, I know it's not flat, but it's easy to expand very, very rapidly, right? So Google is top market share in Europe, in America. It got there very, very quickly, right? その浸透性っていうのかな? They expand very, very fast, right? Because of the big network effects. Okay, so that's aggregators. さて, what this sheet is. Does everybody have this?
Yes.
Okay. So this is a BCG matrix, right? So on the top, this quadrant on the top left, it has a star, right? Basically, all you have to think is 今後伸びるサービス. Yeah. right, is a star. Top right is a question mark. どうなるかわからないサービス。Okay? Bottom left is a cow with a dollar sign. It's a cash cow. 安定した収益があるサービス。そんなに別に伸びるわけじゃないけど。And then on the bottom right is a dog. They call it the lazy dog. まあダメっていうんですね。ちょっとまあ失敗とは言い過ぎかもしれないけど、別に伸びるともないし、そんなにシェアがあるわけじゃないです。Okay? And at the back, I have some products and services of GAFA, right? So maybe some of these products you've not heard of. I apologize, Axel-san, I have double-click and AdWords here. This has been rebranded, but you know that already. But if you don't know some of these services, it's okay. Chances are you know some of these services. That's enough. So I want you to kind of basically think about which products and services are stars, which ones are cash cows, and which ones are kind of question marks, right? And then just kind of have a discussion about the various products and services. One thing I want you to keep in mind is a service an aggregator? If it's an aggregator, it's very, very valuable, right? Because it cannot be challenged really, right? And also think about regulation, right? And think about data. This article is about regulation, right? Too much market power, right? So you might want to think about which products and services might be affected by regulation, right? どういう規制がどういうサービスに適用されて、今後の伸び率に影響されていくかっていうのも議論するべきことだと思います。And then, if you have time, on the second page is a straightforward SWOT analysis. Yeah? Strengths, weaknesses. これはその社内の内部の問題。Right? And opportunities and threats. Right? Opportunity は機会。Threats は危機。Right? 会社の外部の問題。さらに言えば、このstrengths and weaknesses これは今の問題。Opportunities and threats は将来の問題。将来に関わること。Right? So it's important to keep that in mind. I want you to discuss which company, GAFA, which one your group would like to invest in. Okay? So I'm going to divide you up into 5. So 5 and 15 minutes. Okay? 10 or 15 minutes?
10 or 15 minutes.
Yeah. もう安定してる。じゃあ、ここに入ってる。
Market growth. Also, how about Google? Yes. Go ahead. Oh, I'm sorry. I was going to say Google doesn't have the same brand strength that Apple. Okay. So for number 1, we chose Amazon.
Oh, you're turning your back on your own employer already.
So number 2 is Google.
Okay.
And then Apple and Facebook.
3 and 4? Facebook is 4?
Yes.
Okay. So what's the rationale? Why? Why is Amazon number 1 for you?
So personally, I rank companies not based on how much money they make, but how much good they contribute to society by, innovation. Amazon has a very strong brand. They are making many things. They have drones, making, stores. They also have like a space project called Blue Origin.
Yep.
Google is really good as well, but their brand is not as strong as, let's say, Apple. But they still have many, goods and services. Facebook is a very big aggregator.
Yes.
But because of public distrust and all these things happening, I think right now it's not a good time to invest.
Sure. Okay. Wonderful analysis. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
So here's my ranking. What you said about innovation is very good point, because Amazon is the only company of the GAFA which really invests money. 他の会社も全部お金貯め込んでる会社。Apple has huge cash reserves, right? That means they're not innovating. They don't have any way to use that money to make something new, right? So that tells you that Amazon has a future, has a view of the future, right? So that's one thing. But for me, Amazon is probably the weakest for me because I think that the e-commerce is very low margin, very competitive, and a lot of the products come from China. So Alibaba is a huge competitor for them in the future, right? So I think that even the cloud, AWS, this is, Amazon makes most of its money from AWS. AWS, it's coming under a lot of competition from Google Cloud, Microsoft, and their prices are going down. So there's a lot of discounting happening in this industry. It's not clear whether there's a differentiation, but there's one thing I'm not sure. I need to speak to my friend who works at Amazon. Maybe because AWS has data centers and other customers want to locate near AWS, there may be some network effects for that. I'm not sure. I'm not technical enough. I can't say. But for me, that's number 4, Amazon. Number 3 is Apple for me. I think you mentioned that, Axel, that they're not really coming up with new stuff so much, right? But there seems to be something about Steve Jobs, right?
Oh yes.
There's a cult of character, personality, and sorry. Hi.
Sorry, it's just like a religious.
Yeah. Well, not so much religious, but me, I think about in terms of Vincent van Gogh, right? So after death, his products became much more valuable. Same with Tupac, the rap artist, music. Once you die, you become a legend, and then what you created becomes even more valuable. Right, so I think there may be a dynamic where people will continue buying Apple products as long as Steve Jobs' legend is still in the hearts and minds of people. So I think that's number 3. Although I'm a little bit not sure about they got a lot of dogs, with the iPad and stuff. Number 1 and 2 is for me is Facebook. The reason is I know that there's a lot of regulation coming from Facebook, but they offer a way to the future. And I think my view of the future is that individual entrepreneurs, small players like me, they can reach customers at scale through Facebook. Google is very difficult to do this, but with Facebook and the communities they have, it is well placed for the digital economy, right? I'll give you an example. In August, I went to Mongolia and I rented a horse. And I went riding for about 10 days, right? The way I did not go to a company. I don't want to spend my money with a big company. I want to find one person who can give me the horse. So I went on Facebook. I looked for Mongolia backpackers. I said, I'm looking for a horse to rent. Easy. And then about 8-9 Mongolians started messaging me. I have horses for you, yeah. And then in the end, I made the decision. This very nice lady, she rented me the horse. Wonderful trip. I could not have done that with Google. I could not have done that with other big companies. But Facebook, it creates that possibility of connecting people. So I think that it's well placed for the future economy. I think that's the way the world is going to be. But for me, number 1 is Google, only because Google really understands the inner thoughts, right? This is the most valuable type of information, and it's not just about in terms of selling data to advertisers, but selling data to governments, right? And I think that's where the governments will try to protect Google as much as possible. And so that's why I think Google will be the strongest of the GAFA, I think. But that's all opinions anyway. We don't know. But I hope that today, you got a good opportunity to discuss and analyze with people the GAFA, and maybe you understood some new things about these businesses. I just want to say thank you very much for coming today. ありがとうございました. Thank you very much. Just a couple of announcements. March 12th is the next lesson. It's about the deep state and Trump. So it's got something to do with これさっき言った Big Brother, George Orwell. Right? Should be a very, very interesting lesson. Please come on down. It's very hard, but you will learn some new things that are very valuable, I think, for the way you look at the world, right? And also, if you're interested in suits, I have my own suit brand. So, yeah, of course, yes, of course, I can show you. If you're interested in suits, this weekend I'm doing a suit event. You can come and get Saisen. 5万円から作れます. Right? So, everything is made from scratch, tailor-made.
お知らせいたします。
ありがとうございました. Lessons based on donations, so if you enjoyed it, please leave something in the box at the back. If not, no problem, it's fine. Thank you so much for coming.